Get your wallets out, people. It's the Hurricane V2. Alright guys, Vick here, back with another review. Today we are looking at this, the Hurricane V2 from ePhoenix. What is it? It is the follow-up to the Hurricane V1. There was the Hurricane V1, the Hurricane Junior, and then this is the Hurricane V2. What's going on? What's the crack? What's the deal with this? It's got a lot of improvements over the V1. It has adjustable adjustable juice flow that you can change, while all your tank is put together, while there's juice in. That's an upgrade. It comes with a bell cap in the package as standard. There's also additional top caps available. It comes with 3 deck options for airflow. So you've got a 5mm, a 3mm, and a 2mm. There are different top caps available for this as well, and it does have top fill now as well. We'll get into everything, but everything will be way clearer once we've been down to the table, had a good look, and then we'll come back up and we'll go through all the details and what I think and all that stuff. So see you in a second. Alright guys, here we are up close with the Hurricane V2. This is the box, nice and simple packaging. Amazed it all fits in there, to be honest, but all good stuff. You can see the website there, e-phoenix e-phoenixsig.com. So that's the packaging it comes in, all that. So I'll put that over here. Next we've got our spares. Now this is not just your ordinary bag of spares, it does have all your O-rings and screws and stuff, but it also has these extra decks. Now if we get into them, there's 3 sizes of deck. Deck boat, I think they call it, because it's effectively just one post. We've got our spares, we've done that, good stuff. Right, we've got our deck sizes here. So the smallest one there, that makes it a very similar vape to the Hurricane version 1, 1.2, 1.3, depending which one you've got, and that is the smallest hole here. Then you've got your medium one. This makes it like a Hurricane Junior style airflow, if you've had one of those. Lovely, nice and airy. That is my preferred. As I've said before, the Hurricane Junior is my favourite RTA to date, and so you can completely replicate the airflow using that one. And stick them in there. And then the biggest one is the one I have on now, and as you can see, it's gargantuan. And it's actually too big, but we'll come back to that when we go up top. This is the base and all that stuff there. Now, basically, to change the deck, you just unscrew your 510, and this bit pops out. Now, if you look very closely, you'll see there's an insulator there. It is important that you remove the insulator from the one you're taking out and pop that on the other one. I forgot to do that and wasted an hour of my life, so don't do that. But we'll come back to the deck slightly more in a bit, because we're going to wick it and all that stuff. So the other options that you get are a plastic bell cap PPMA jobby, and I'll put it together and show you what that looks like. To do that you need slightly different parts. So what you do if you're doing it like that, basically if you use the plastic tank, the bell cap, let's call it the bell cap, sounds better. If you're using the bell cap, you use this juice flow control, not the other one. Put that in nicely. There we go, nice and pushed in. That's the airflow ring, juice flow control ring. And then we simply pop this on here and we screw it up, and that is what it looks like with the bell cap on. Now if we get my fave out, the Hurricane Junior, you can see it's effectively exactly the same. Ignore the drip tips there, just random ones, but if we look at those, you basically, if you use it in bell cap mode, if you use the middle deck, you've basically got an identical Hurricane Junior. So if you want to know what the you know, if you're wanting to replicate your junior, then that is that. So you can completely do that, or if you want an area Hurricane Junior, then you can use the bigger deck like I'm using, and that is your option there. So that's that. Just pull this out, pop, and we have done those bits. So you can see where we're going here. Okay, so this is the remaining bits. You've got your metal glass tank. You've got your new fancy airflow thing, juice flow. You've got your chimney bit with your top part, and you can see we now have top fill on this. If you're using the bell cap, you can't use top fill. That's the very top cap once you've filled it up with juice, and your drip tip which comes with. So let's put a wick in here and put it all back together. Okay, so wicking. Now this will be up for debate as to whether I'm doing it the right way or there's another way of doing it. And I must admit I have had several hurricane RTAs now over the course of 3 or 4 months, and I've tried loads of different ways of wicking it. I have the Hurricane 1.2 first, and that had slightly restricted juice flow channels. By mistake, they improved it for the 1.3, and so I did have to get quite creative with how I wicked that for the power that I wanted to put through it. But effectively, the wicking that I do, and I think it's the most widely seen as normal way of doing it, is what I call the M wick. Now I've put that in there. I'm going to trim that down. I'm going to unscrew this from here. Okay. Alright. Scissors. Just eyeballing this to the about length I want it. Sorry, on camera this time. Right. So I call it an M wick. Now the reason I do that is because it will become insanely apparent in a minute, but you basically just put that cap back on, push it down nicely so that the slots are lined up with the coil, like that. Okay, and then you want a dibber or a dobber or a dabber. You can use a dibber, a dobber or a dabber for this wicking technique. Basically you lift them up like this, lift them up like that, and now instead of going straight across like you might with a scrape, so your wicks are just straight lines across, what you want to do is you want to push the top bit, right, here we go, on camera stuff here. What you want to push the top bit down like this, so that the very end of your wick is actually going down to the deck, not out of the hole, sort of forming like an arc, you know, so 2 arcs, like an M. I hope that was semi-visible. So again, you get that top bit and you push it down to the bottom of the deck, and then you want to regroup the rest of it to sort of push up against, just so you've got complete coverage of the hole, you know, and it allows it to continuously wick as well, which is nice. So that's not insanely tidy, but we'll also tidy it up again when we juice it and when we put that top bit on as well. Let's juice it. What should we put in? We're only playing around on camera, so we'll just put in some mango sticky rice. Really should have thought about that before I started, but anyway, so yeah, let's wick it up. Wick it up. Like that. The more the merrier in there, to be honest. I ain't gonna go down that hole no matter what you do. I've never had that happen. So we pop this back on. Oh yeah, we can see that the wicks do need lifting up a little bit. So we're going to do that. Oftentimes it turns out, there we go, so we're just raising those back up again, we're getting a bigger arch on our M's. So another go, turn this in, just step back on. It's looking a lot better indeed. And you can see a tiny bit of tidying here, tiny bit of tidying, but your wicks fill these holes completely like that, almost like old style clear miser, but you're looking at the arch is all juiced up there, isn't it? So that's why it's all good. Then we have our lovely new juice flow control. Now this sort of looks a bit funky in that, but basically you can now adjust your juice flow control when it's in the tank, you know, when you got all juiced up and you're all full up, which is, you know, an improvement, some would say. Put this section on as well, like that, and we will put this bit on now as well. And we are all in. We are all in. Let's line it up. Like what we're gonna do is we're gonna close the juice flow control and we're gonna fill her up a bit. No problem with the filling. Obviously I'm making a meal of it because I'm using a dobber and a dabber and a dibber. Oh. I'm using one of these squidgy jobs, but there we go. So we'll just do 3 squirts. Obviously it's got room for more, but we're only messing about. So we'll do that, like that. Screw this back on. And we're back together. Like that. There we go. All back together, and that's what the tank looks like, all back together. You've got your airflow control down there. Obviously that turns like that. Putting it on a mod. Put it on my droid. There we go, on the droid. We're back together and we'll go back up top. See you in a sec. Okay guys, that was the Hurricane V2 down low. This is how I've got it currently set up. I've got it with the biggest hole in the deck. I've got it with the metal and glass barrel with the top fill bit and everything. I've got it at 0.65 at 38, 40 watts. I'm sort of flipping about, having a play. And that's what I've got with that sticky rice inside. And it's vaping like this. Really tasty, really nice. We'll get back to it all, but that is how I'm vaping it right now. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about next is the deck. Now, I'll put a picture of the deck up while I'm talking. I didn't cover it too much down low because I want to talk more about it, and I didn't want to just be staring at 2 screws on a green background for ages while talking about it. It is a big improvement from the V1 deck. They have 2 gold-plated brass posts now, big square posts, and the deck is nice and improved, and it's really great that you've got those 3 options of the hole going underneath. But this is one area I feel like the Hurricane tanks can definitely improve on. I feel like we don't need to be wrapping our wire around screws anymore.
I feel like there's definitely ways of doing the post hole. If you look at the Orgvape Merlin version 1 RTA with the setback velocity deck for a single coil, that's a much easier, more glamorous way of tying these leads down. Wrapping them around the screw in this day and age seems really backward to me. Maybe just me. I don't have a problem doing it. It just is more fiddly than it needs to be. There are easier ways of doing it. Also, the posts. The two posts can and should, in my opinion, be further apart. 2.5mm coils is what I recommend for this deck. You can fit 3mm coils. I've got in a 3mm coil now, but it's really tight. There's no room, no spare room in the side there at all, because the posts are really close together. You can also do a build on top of the posts, but that separates you quite a long way from coil to air entry, which can lead to more throat hit and things like that. So again, I just feel like those posts should be further apart, or a better style of deck. It's improved on the first one, because the first one just looked so scratchy, but I still feel like the deck could be better. So that's something I wanted to talk about. 2.5mm coils are recommended in there. And I don't know why we're still wrapping the wire around a screw and tightening down like old K-Fun-esque, but we are, and that's where it is. That's where it's at. Okay, so the V2, what has it got over the V1, and then what has it got over the Junior? So over the V1, got the V1 right here. They've improved the airflow, in my opinion. You now have total variety rather than an assortment of spots. One thing I would say though, it was really nice and quiet on the V1, whereas it's a tiny bit noisier. That probably sounds worse because I'm so close to it. It's smooth, but it's noisier than the V1. The V1 was known to be quite quiet. So there's that. They've changed that airflow bit. Obviously you've got those additional deck options. That's new. You can now completely lung hit this. The 5mm air hole that I've got in right now, it's actually too big for me. I prefer the 3, which takes it to the same size as the Junior. So if you're wanting a Junior style vape in your V2, put the 3mm in, get the Pyrex tank out, the bell cap, and you have yourself the Junior. So it has the deck options, which is great. Also over the original V1 is you've got glass and stainless steel now. So that's an advantage. Tank crackers, not a problem if you use this setup like this. Tank crackers no longer an issue with that. Which is good. It's got top fill now, which works absolutely fine, which is good. A plethora of improvements, and the improvements that we've talked to about the deck as well. Okay, so that's over the V1. Lots of improvements, lots going on. If you like the sound of those improvements, but you're worried about the fact that I'm saying that this is now lung hitty, if you put in the 2mm air slot deck, I have done this. It makes it a very similar vape to the V1. So if you liked the vape but you want those improvements, you can certainly vape it like the V1 with this V2. Absolutely, no question. Over the Junior, really all it's got going on is the metal and glass situation with top fill, and also more air. If you put that bigger deck hole in, you get more air as well. So if you got Junior and you wanted it even more airy, then you can do that with a V2 as well. So you can make it exactly like a Junior if you like, or you can do even more air. However, another thing, because you're limited to single coil because of the way it is, there is a dual coil deck in the works apparently, but I don't have that, so stay tuned for an update on that. But because it's a single coil deck, because those posts are close together, because of the wicking style and everything, I think you're pretty much limited to 50, pushing it to 60 watts. So although I'm saying you can do a massive lung hit on it with the 5mm airflow option, you're going to be restricted by how quick it can wick and the fact it's a 2.5mm single coil. So this, I'm not saying that this is like suddenly become a cloud chucking tank. I'm just saying you can have a very loose vape if you like. Okay, so there is that. Overall, overall, what do I think? Really enjoying using it. There's a couple of things that they should look at, in my opinion. One is the O-rings situation going on with this tank. You've got O-rings throughout. I don't know if you can see right in the middle there, but there's like a tiny gap there. Are we focusing? There we go. Tiny gap there where you can actually see a bit of an O-ring, and that's between this bevel bit and the glass. You've got O-rings separating both bits of the glass as well. If they're slightly out, you can move the glass. You can feel the glass moving. So the O-ring situation for me could be tidied up somehow. A different style of O-ring, or they should be more fixed. You know, when you start to dismantle this tank, all your O-rings are falling out left, right, and centre, and I'm not sure that's a good thing because it makes it very complicated to work out where it's going back. So there's a lot of moving parts here. You know, there's a lot of O-rings, and they all seem quite loose. And when they fall out, that for me, they could tighten that up. A lot of tanks, you undo them. One O-ring stays where it's meant to be, the other O-ring stays where it's meant to be, no problems. So I'd like to see them do that. The next one is this juice flow control. Now, this has run into a fair bit of criticism from what I've seen on Facebook and things like that. It's constantly turning. Literally, you can see it there, just spinning away, spinning away. It seems too loose, it's too easy, and if you spin it the other way, you do run a slight risk, and some people have reported this, of actually loosening up your tank, and actually ended up taking the bit off. So I would definitely say go clockwise if you're messing with your juice flow ring. But so that has been mentioned as a con. It doesn't need to be anywhere near that loose. Yeah, you can just spin it for fun. Spin it if you get bored. It seems strange. So that's a potential con as well. I've already mentioned my slight negatives with the deck. Posts farther apart. Put some holes in there, for God's sake, so we don't have to wrap it around the screw anymore, and those things there. Wicking, I've talked about. If you wick it like I've wicked it, I'm not saying that's the way to wick it, or the ultimate way, or the best way, or anything like that, but that is how I have wicked my Hurricanes that I've had a few of, and I've had for a while, and that's the most effective way I've found, and I know it's the most effective way some other Hurricane users have found as well. So that is definitely a way. I've had no wicking issues, leaking, flooding, gurgling, or dry hits, or anything like that, wicking it the way I wicked in the down low section. So no problem there at all. So those are sort of my grievances. Ultimately, it's a fantastic tank. It vapes really nice. Great flavour. It's great. Vapor production, nice, smooth. The air feels really smooth throughout. I like the build I've got in there. I like the juice I've got in there. I'm not having any issues with this tank at all. I'm really enjoying it. How I would set it up, if I'm being perfectly honest, is I would use the bell cap. Not this, because I think I've grown to really like the way it looks, but to be honest, I like those bell caps. So I would put the bell cap on it, and I would put the 3mm airflow in it, and I would vape it like that, and I would forego the top fill and all that stuff. However, if I was going to set it up like that, and I am going to set it up like that, what I'm really left with is this, which is a Hurricane Junior. So really, I don't need the V2. I could have just got another Hurricane Junior. But that's me being perfectly honest. There's nothing wrong with this tank. It's a brilliant tank. I love the vape on it. I'm very happy with it. All my negatives are just like subjective little improvements they could make, little fiddly things, I love this tank. I love using it. Really enjoy using it. It's a fantastic vape. Tastes fantastic. Easy to wick. I did it on camera there. Easy to wick. Easy to build. And good fun all round. The juice flow control, although it spins like buggery, it is actually a very effective way of doing it. So I am enjoying this tank. I'm really enjoying this tank. I think it's a great vape. Just loads of little things. Obviously the price point, a very expensive tank. I think it's like £170 or $200 or something like that. So it's very expensive, so maybe not for everyone purely on that fact alone. Alternatives out there, there are alternatives out there, K from 5, RTAs of that nature. It's down to your preference. This is, I think, these Hurricane tanks, I have them for a reason. I love them. So this is my preference. I really like this V2. I think, the Junior is my real love, but I do really like this V2. It's absolutely solid and really good. And I've been waffling on for ages. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have one more vape and I'm going to say bye bye. Thank you very much for watching. See you again soon.